Hello crafty friends, Amanda here with Crafting with Amanda, and today's layout incorporates day 20 of the 30 days of sketches. I'm stretching this sketch and I'm also meeting all of the prompts for Craft IQ. Here's the sketch that we are going to work with, and I stretched it obviously to a 12 by 24, and I'm continuing with using photos from my mom from the 50s and 60s. And I'm so excited. By following these prompts, I think this layout turned out better than had I not had these prompts. So I started with these four kind of colored layouts, or colored photographs. And then the two that are on the side, I end up cutting down. And as I'm using these photographs from the 50s and 60s from my mom's box, I really am hesitant to cut any, but the two that are on an angle, I actually have multiples of the same exact photo, so I'm okay cutting them. And I'm just showing you that I went and I did all of the stamping from the thin cut for the In Full Bloom scrapbooking kit, and I did that the night before that I created this layout. And I'm just showing you the In Full Bloom papers. They are just amazing. So there's so many choices to put together and you don't want to kind of miss anything. So here are all the papers. There's two-sided, and aren't those rich? I mean, they make I think they would make any layout just come to life. Getting started, I'm pulling these two base pages from, it's a stack of papers that I had. I'm not even sure where it came from, their manufacturer. They were just in my stash and they worked so well with the color themes that I'm doing for my mom's heritage album. So now I'm just trying to audition or try which papers that I want to have as background, which papers I want to have kind of as the photo mat. And I realized at this point that these color photos, the background in the photo, like the wall, is that old-fashioned, I don't even know what color to call it. It's kind of that blue-green from the 50s and 60s before they went to the avocados of the 70s for, wall and kitchen colors. So I cut those at 5.5 by 12, and I'm not sure how long I wanted them. That's why I left them right at 12 inches. And I also wanted the butterfly in the bottom left corner that I'm hiding right now with my hand. So just kind of looking at it, I'm realizing, all right, 9 inches on each side. Let's see if the photos fit there. I really like to do a lot of auditioning before I glue things down. I have spent a lot of time lifting up things that I have glued down and repairing the damage from lifting up those items. So I've really learned over the years to kind of audition and dry fit is what I call it. So now I'm taking some Colonial White cardstock and I'm putting it kind of as my background following the sketch. And then of course for my album, the Heritage album, I'm using some charcoal cardstock as kind of a theme or a thread that's weaving through all of the album pages. And so I have some of the lace scallops. I also have some leaves that are die cut out of there. And this is just something that I'm trying to do kind of to add some uniformity, that's the wrong word, but just to kind of keep everything kind of threaded together. As I'm looking at this layout, the Colonial White needs something, but I don't necessarily want to stamp on it, so I decided that I'm going to pull out an old technique, and I'm going to just crinkle all this cardstock and make it wrinkly, and you can make it look like leather if you add ink to it if you want, but I'm just trying to soften the paper and get some wrinkles in it and just really give some interest. So here what I did is I glued the one sheet down to Colonial White, and then I decided that you guys might like to see this. So I have my brayer, and you don't have to have a brayer to do this. I was using my fingernails to kind of smush it out, and then I just grabbed a credit card, and there's not enough wrinkles in it for me. So the more, like, you can open it, iron it out, close it, add some more water. You can play with this as much or as little as you want until you get the effect that works for you. And once you get it to the point that it's mostly flat, go ahead and grab another piece of cardstock, and I use both types of glue, the adhesive runner and a wet glue, just because I feel like the wet glue gives it a more permanent bond, but the adhesive runner gives it a more instant bond, and it just works out for me. So smooth that down as much as you want. And then I knew that I was going to be cutting this down to 10 by 11 inches. So I just glued down 2 of the edges really well. And now I'm going to go ahead and trim off just a little bit to keep as much of it as I can, because what I'll do is I'll take any parts of this that are left and I'll end up incorporating those into a card later on. So here I'm going to cut this down at 10 3/4 because that'll go on my 11 by 10 base. And now I'm going to cut this down at 9 3/4, and like I said, I'll save that little strip for another project. And I'm showing you here that I just cut off the corner of a charcoal cardstock to act as a base. I didn't need to have the whole thing, and I already have, several layers going here with the wrinkled cardstock and then the smooth cardstock, and now I have an edge on it. And with all of the iterations that I've put this cardstock through, I'm going to really glue it down so that it doesn't buckle in the page protectors. And I'll just line it up with my other page, and then I'll go ahead and get that adhered down and trim off the extra little pieces along the top and side. And there was a little bit of glue that was hanging out on the sides, and I just rubbed that off with my fingers. And I won't show you me doing all of this, but one of the prompts for Craft IQ was to add orange to your layout. So my dad's favorite color is orange, so that was pretty easy to do. I just grabbed a couple flowers and inked them up with, I believe, nectarine ink, which is an orange hue. So I did all those off screen with my blender brush, and I grabbed, I think candy apple is the ones that look kind of pink there, and there's the orange ones out of the nectarine. The blue is Carolina, and I also grabbed glacier ink, and avocado is what I did the leaves with those small flowers. And I did pansy, which is, I believe, a retired color for the purple. And here I'm grabbing some of those stitched leaves that come in the layered flowers thin cut set, and I grabbed this sketch and I was looking at it, and I realized that I needed a band across the top to kind of honor the sketch. And they had kind of a dark band, but I thought if I grabbed just a couple slivers off of the In Full Bloom pattern paper, it would kind of tie in with all of the flowers on the bottom. And one of the prompts from Craft IQ was to add color cardstock, so that's why I went ahead and matted the small photos that are kitty corner with the lagoon cardstock, and then also to add triangles. And then as a bonus, you could incorporate stamping with your triangles that would, kind of really meet all of the prompts for this month. So that's what I did, is I stamped love across my triangles, and then we needed to add a metal element through Craft IQ. So I'm gonna add gold shimmer brush. Originally I thought I was gonna do some silver thread, but instead I did the gold shimmer brush. Off camera, I went to my Cricut and cut out my parents' names, Richard and Sharon, and you can see the shimmer brush that I splattered on the bottoms. And then I glued down those leaves and the flowers. And one of the Craft IQ prompts is called flower smacking. And it became kind of a joke where we were like, what's flower smacking? And it turns out it's just layering flowers. But if you follow Craft IQ, you'll see several people that are literally smacking up their flowers. And I added the little cluster of flowers in the upper left corner by my banner because when I put my thick twine down, I put the glue because I thought that the twine would go off the edge of the page, and it didn't work for me. So when I took that off, I had the glue mark that I needed to cover. So it was a good embellishment opportunity for me. And one of the last prompts with Craft IQ was to use 7 of 1 embellishment, and I met that by using all of the gray gems there. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, now would be a good time to do that. You can catch up with me on those other ways. And here's another video you may be interested in. And I hope you have a blessed day, and be sure to go and see what other people did for Stretch the Sketch, 30 Days of Sketches, and Craft IQ. Blessings.